Welcome to Season 3 of the Local Whidbey Podcast. It's hard to believe that I have already interviewed 40 interesting Whidbey Island locals. This season, I am reimagining the podcast just a bit. A few months ago, a listener told me that this podcast was the NPR of Whidbey Island. I don't know about that, but I do consider it a compliment. That got me thinking. Whidbey is one of those rare places where people reinvent themselves quietly. The island attracts people who have lived multiple lives before arriving here. Artists, founders, musicians, military, healers, farmers, escapees from corporate America, writers, craftspeople, and eccentrics. As I was thinking about this instead of interesting people on Whidbey Island, I want to think more about what kinds of transformations happen on Whidbey Island. I'm going to start with Saltwater Lives as the first segment of Season 3. Over the course of this category, we'll be chatting with 4 locals who have devoted their lives to the sea. Each of them chose Whidbey Island as the place to anchor their work and their stories. What draws people to this specific stretch of water? It's a place where the tides dictate the rhythm of the day, where the community is bound by the harvest of the bay, and where the line between livelihood and legacy often blurs. These aren't just stories about fishing or boating, they're about the choices people make to live in harmony with the ocean and why this island became the only place they could call home. I know you'll enjoy the first series, Saltwater Lives. There's a particular rhythm to life on Whidbey that you can't find anywhere else. A tide-driven cadence that shapes everything from when we wake to what ends up on our plates. In the Saltwater Lives series, we're diving into the stories of those whose lives move with the water, whose hands bear the marks of nets and lines, and whose identities are woven into the very salt spray of this island. Today, we're sitting with Andrew Hosmer of Whidbey Seafoods, 2 generations carrying forward a legacy built on the waters surrounding us. Their story isn't just about catching fish. It's about stewardship, family, and what it means to build a life tethered to the sea, ensuring that every meal travels from the ocean to the table under their own watch. Let's chat with Andrew Hosmer. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, Magsy.
We are upstairs above Seabolt, listener. That's where we are, right?
Yes.
And you guys share a space here. Is that what you were just telling me? For smoking your fish. Is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay. So the listener heard the intro, so they know what we're going to be talking about Saltwater Lives today. So one of the things that why I reached out to you is I loved your story with your brother and your father and the whole history of fishing. And so how did you guys first get connected to the water? You can tell the listener a little bit more about what your dad and your family tradition, and then let's talk about how you went independent from that.
Sounds good. Yeah, thank you for having me on the show. Looking forward to this conversation. I mean, us in the water go back a long ways. My dad and mom they both grew up in Massachusetts. They grew up on the water out there. They both actually went to school for marine biology.
Wow.
And so then my dad ended up hearing about a job going to fish king crab in Alaska. So some of the guys from Massachusetts were running a boat that they were converting called the Baranof out here in Seattle to go up and fish kind of the infancy of the king crab fishery in Alaska. So he and some other friends with my mom that drove out, and he went fishing, commercial fishing in Alaska. And that, that kind of started it all, right? So then it's just, it's in the blood there. And we've just been, my mom actually was on the boat when they do salmon tendering and do salmon processing. So, and then ever since growing up, we've just had saltwater themed life. Growing up on Whidbey Island, there's a lot of local fishing. There's a lot of the waters everywhere. And so, we had, seafood all the time, just growing up, themed board games and, like posters and
right.
And, and then that kind of evolved, and my brother and I, Adam, got really into actual like sport fishing stuff. And so we've just been salty from the very beginning, salt in the veins, So
there was never a time you're like, I'm not doing this when I get older.
Oh yeah, definitely.
There was that?
Especially the commercial fishing side. We got into like the saltwater, the fun side.
Okay.
That was like sport fishing. Yeah, that's fun. So that was, but the commercial fishing side, I mean, that's, it's a lot of work. It's hard. Like I'm not thinking.
It's a tough life.
Yeah, very, very. I'm not thinking like as a college kid, like, or young adult, like I want to go do that. But so, no, I went to school for a couple of years in Santa Barbara that, didn't work out as well. Just probably wasn't as focused as you should be,
Right.
let's say. And then, I went and worked at a warehouse job, did some traveling, and then I'm like, I'm going to go fishing on the boat because I need, you need money as an adult. You're like, I got to pay bills.
Adulting.
Exactly. And so that's how that happened. And then I went up my first time. I literally said, I'm never going back. 35 days later, went back. And then it was like, 18 years of commercial fishing.
So your dads and moms are in Alaska. What brought you to Whidbey Island?
They lived on Whidbey.
Oh.
And, because you
Oh,
fly.
they went over there.
Right.
Yeah.
Most of the commercial fishing boats, like they come down to Ballard's, like the Seattle was the home office, right? So Ballard was the home port. And so they lived on Whidbey. And that's where I grew up. That's where Adam and I grew up, is on Whidbey. And so that's how we.
So when did Whidbey Seafood come about?
Whidbey Seafoods came, and we started in 2019.
Okay.
Right. So we just started as just e-commerce, right?
That's
E-commerce website. Adam and I, we're working both on the Baranof, and we were both first mates. And so we were trading times, and there was another first mate. So there's three of us, which there's not really enough. Ideally it's two mates because that's more time, more money, the amount of time you put the money. So there was three of us, so we had to split more time. So we were trying to think of ways to be productive while we're at home.
Okay.
And we were trying to think about, vertical integration in the seafood industry, because the supply chain is it's so convoluted, so much there's not a lot of transparency. There's definitely a dirty underbelly of a lot of seafood, right? So that was kind of the infancy of it. Let's try to get as direct to the consumer as possible. It's so easy to stand up an e-commerce store these days.
Right.
And so 2019, 2020 happened, everybody so like the online ordering was actually just a great inflection point for that, which is just luck, right? But
it's evolved.
It has definitely evolved since then. Yes. So that was the first step, selling the frozen seafood online. And then, we got into Seabolt Smokehouse. We had an opportunity. So we want to get the next vertical integration step. You have the fishing and harvesting. You need the processing in the middle and the distribution to the consumer, right? So having Seabolt, the smokehouse there, it's licensed to process fish. It's licensed to smoke and smoke salmon, smoke black cod, make value-added products like pâtés. We make a pet treat, like different things like that. So that was the opportunity. We purchased the smokehouse side back in 2022, February of 2022. And that gave us, so then we just started pushing the brand, the Whidbey Seafood smoked fish, and we try to get as many, local stores. Then, we have a good partnership with Ocean Beauty Distribution that gets us into like the bigger Hagen's, into, some of the Safeways. And we just got a canned smoked black cod into the regional Whole Foods, the Northwest Whole Foods.
That's great.
So we've been, pushing that side, kind of the CPG side.
Right.
And we also do service in here. So we do white labeling, custom service for customers. Say you're fishing in Bristol Bay and you want to direct market your stuff, or you're a black cod fisherman off the coast and you want to take your product and value add it, smoke or process or make a pâté out of it. We do that for customers and we'll put their label on it. So it's basically processing as a service.
Great idea.
Yeah. So those are kind of the three. Yeah. It helps out a lot of other fishermen that can't have access to processing, that want to direct market their own product at farmers markets and online or whatever
Great idea.
Whatever they think. Yeah.
So I had written a question about your peak season versus quieter, but after looking at your website, you literally have fish for every season of the year.
Yeah.
So is there always a peak during that season, or is there a quiet time during the year?
I mean, I think more of its seasonality is more kind of what we're doing in the plan versus like a fishing season. Like we do there, like more service work certain times a year versus more of like the, summertime. There's a lot more tourists on Whidbey. The local, you're producing a lot more of our own branded product. But I mean, also too, as a small business, and I don't think there's ever such thing as a peak and a lull, right? You're always wanting more. Like, I mean, the way we're trying to
always
is just
hustling,
always trying to grow, because the bills don't stop, the costs don't stop, everything keeps going up. So you need to be able to produce more and go up with those costs, right? So it's like, I mean, I don't think we ever look at like, oh man, this is going to be busy season. I mean, the holidays are always super busy, right? For smoked fish and stuff like that. That's definitely a busy, but outside of like that kind of, Thanksgiving to Christmas, New Year's, we don't really look at it like, oh, here comes our busy season. We're always trying to make it busy.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So you were talking about getting rid of the middleman. So how has Whidbey Seafoods adapted to all the fishing industry regulations? And is that going down or does it get more and more?
Regulations are tough because there's just so much nuance to it, right? I mean, there's regulations for every step of it. There's, different regulations for what we produce down in the plant, whether, WSDA, the food handling, the FDA regulations versus your harvesting regulations, which, you have state water fisheries, you have government federal fisheries. There's all sorts of different quotas. So each species, each state, Alaska versus Washington, each species has its own regulations and its own quotas, its own seasons.
Mind-boggling.
And then inside the state of that species, there's state water and federal water. So you could be fishing the same species, and then there's boat sizes. There's so much nuance to it that, we would probably have to spend like a 2-hour podcast just talking about the regulations and quotas. Exactly. That's probably way too boring for your listeners, for sure.
Or not only that, but it's also like we wanted to hear the exciting part.
Yeah.
It's almost like going la 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 la. I don't want to hear that because we know it's there. It's there.
Yeah.
Golly. Okay.
It is tough though. It is, but it makes it does add into all the cost of seafoods. One of the biggest things for consumers is seafood's expensive, but like if you just kind of bird's eye view and take back, like, okay, what does it actually take to get the product harvested and a good quality, and where it comes from to get it to the shelf or get it to your plate? There's so many steps, and it's just so much that each phase has a cost, and it adds up real quick, and it is all part of it. It is all part of it.
So you were talking about federal waters, local waters. What have you learned? What's the difference as far as local fishing opposed to even like talking about your dad in Alaska?
It's a lot of it's just different. A lot of it is the different species, right? Alaska has, I mean, in Washington, like coast of Washington, Puget Sound, there's no king crab, there's no like Baranof or Opelio crabs, right? There's not Pacific cod as the volume that there is up there, So it's kind of different, more a species thing. Down, Puget Sound is more, there's a king salmon fishery. There's some local sockeye runs, but it's more Alaska, has just more volume and more of like it's a commercial fishing state, right? So that's there's so many different towns and people and long lineages now of commercial fishing families versus down here, commercial fishing, I think, has more of, there's more of a tribal history with the commercial fishing, right? And so it's a lot of Dungeness crab, a lot of king salmon, coho salmon, the pink salmon when they come through. So those are kind of the big differences that I see,
So one of the things that we were talking about before we started the podcast is I don't know if you've really been in business long enough to have a turning point, but you did say COVID, you're really busy. And then you had to diversify. Was that really like a turning point for you guys?
I mean, I think for us, I don't think there's any real specific turning point.
Yeah.
I think it's more of like, nose to the grindstone, right? You just stack each day and try to have progress and be better each day because you make so many mistakes, right? Because we were fishermen. I didn't go to business school. I didn't have a mentor for that, like neither of us. So you figure a lot of stuff out on the fly. So as many steps back as forward, then boom. So a lot of it is just trying to stay consistent, not giving up, persevering, learning from the mistakes that you do find, and just keep going and keep going. I mean, a lot of it for us, like the plant is, we have great people in there. David, our manager, I mean, he's smoking fish for over 20 years. I mean, he could run the thing with his eyes closed. So like having great people inside the plant working for you and helping you with that is one of the biggest assets for us. So as a turning point, I think it's just trying to be consistent. I don't think there's any one inflection point for us yet because everything is just, it feels like it's just a grind to get to each one. So you have to just kind of have a longer term view and not get up and down with the good and the bad and just,
So my season 2 of my podcast, the very first interview was with Larry Mason from Island Trollers, and he's told me what flash freezing was and how it's different than
awesome
draining the blood out of your tuna
on the boat. That's awesome.
So this next question is more about you've gotten rid of traditional supply chain by sourcing your fish, flash freezing, and then direct shipping. How does that impact the quality and the freshness?
Quality, you can't, like I'm sure Larry said, if frozen at sea, FAS is top tier, right? I mean, so like the Baranof, the black cod comes out. I mean, it is bled, processed, graded, flash frozen, within like an hour. I mean, that peak freshness. If you look at other trollers, like salmon trollers, like say there's this troller we work with that was a partner, the FV Nurka out of Bellingham. And Telly and Joel, they're great partners with us. They take a tremendous care of their fish. You look at the skin color, even if a fish is in the freezer for 2 years and that skin color, it looks like that thing the coho is just swimming out of the water. It's bright blue hue to it, this silver chrome. It's all about how you treat the fish as soon as it comes out and the handling. And that is, it gets lost. Volume fisheries, it's harder to do. And we don't, that technology is so far behind in Alaska and everywhere for that quality. But flash frozen products, at sea cannot be beat because you're locking in the quality and freshness at that moment in time. And it's like an hour old fish or less for the probably trollers, the smaller boats, and it's, and you're locking that in and you can see it. Like salmon is a great one because like if you look at other salmon, that have been in RSW water, you look at the back, it's gray, that faded, and it was frozen in a more faded state. If you look at the FAS stuff, that skin color is chrome. It literally looks like the fish is fresh. And so that's why I like to bring that one up, because it's just a visual difference when you look a side to side
the big
picture.
difference to me as a consumer, so my husband will say he likes fish.
Yeah.
If it tastes fishy, he will not eat it.
Yeah, nobody will,
And that's the difference to me, is it doesn't, if you are eating something that has been processed the way you guys do, it doesn't taste fishy. Even like you said, 2 years later.
It should never taste fishy, right? But a lot of it is a concern. A lot of them don't want to, they have a little hesitancy about cooking seafood, right? I mean, I think it's better now. There's a lot more education. You can look up a lot of stuff, so much YouTube videos, which is great. But then if they try, it is expensive, right? The good stuff, and you try it and it tastes fishy, you're like, I'm not going to buy this again, right? Like, or maybe I'm going to wait a long time to try it again. So it's like, and the real part is there's just not a lot of transparency because there's no rules about, like, I mean, even in a restaurant, you can just say that salmon is salmon. You don't have to say what kind. Is it coho salmon? Is it pink salmon? Is it king? Is it farm? Is it wild? There's no law that says you have to be that transparent. So a lot of people, I had salmon before, and they try, but it's like each species of salmon is different tasting, and then each method of harvest of that salmon is different, right? So it gets so intricate. And there's not a lot of education and knowledge about, wait, how is this salmon caught? I want a troll caught. Okay, that's a great one versus, maybe a net caught when it's already headed up the river. It's already maybe turned, so that part is really hard to get people that part educated on, and it's tough because everybody needs to sell their fish, and there's just so much salmon that gets caught in so many different ways too.
Right.
Imagine if Oak Harbor had a place where music, theater, and creativity could thrive all year round. The Oak Harbor Creative Arts Foundation is exploring something big, a performing arts center and makers space to expand arts access, support local artists and youth, and strengthen our community. Right now, they're in the feasibility phase, building awareness and community support before any fundraising begins. One of the easiest ways to help is to add your name to their petition of support. No money asked, just show you believe in. Imagine Oak Harbor for all of Whidbey Island. Visit the website today and add your name. Creative communities don't just happen, they're imagined first. Go to ohcaf.org to show you also. Imagine Oak Harbor.
So in all the process that you just were going through, what do you find most rewarding?
Oh, man. I mean, for me now, just personally, I...
Getting to bed early?
No, not even that. It's just not having to go fishing anymore. Like, I feel bad for, Adam's up there right now, and he's got, and I fished for, about 18 years, commercial. And so this last year was the first year I didn't go. And so that part is the most rewarding so far because it's not as, if you know, it is, it's a big sacrifice. And they got families, you're missing, you're giving up that time. It's not a great, fun environment, right? You can't even choose what you're eating, right? It's all, you have a cook, all those little things that nobody really realizes what goes in and the sacrifice to go do the job and how even just hard it is, but just like the mental side of it, that grind. And, sometimes, with the FAA, you could be at sea for over a month straight, and so it's like you're every day working. Christmas, it doesn't matter,
Yeah.
It's that part is the most rewarding, is not going back to sea. You learn a lot and you learn how to work hard, and you learn a lot about yourself mentally and about being, pushing through resistance and adversity and pushing yourself physically. But
Well, and it also helps you learn every aspect of the business. So
it does that
you
too.
can shop
That too.
literally.
Yeah.
And you know where they're coming from.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because you've done it.
Yeah. All the lingo. Yeah. Yeah. You do it too much.
So let's talk about all the local markets you're in now. How do you have them convey a message that, say, business-wise, messaging, branding-wise, that you want conveyed about your fish?
I think we try on the packaging more, right? I don't think we can let it up to the local business, because they're going to, right? It's not on their shoes, right? So we try, packaging, branding, right? Getting that brand association. So Whidbey Seafoods branded packaging, just you automatically associate with that quality. And we get that message out there, But I mean, it's tough, because we could be better on social. We could always be better. You could, There's some people that are really great at digital marketing, social marketing, and we haven't really had the bandwidth really to put a huge effort into something like that. And it hasn't been our kind of a driver for us yet. Hopefully maybe one day we do get to that.
Yeah.
Especially with some of our shelf stable products, like the pet treat or the canned stuff, because it makes shipping a lot easier.
Right.
So you want to acquire as many customers as possible. But, shipping frozen seafood with the dry ice, or shipping it to Massachusetts, you don't want to acquire a ton of customers across the country, because especially the way the cost of fuel and everything's just been going up, just eats those margins away. Right. So
how have you, talking about that, how have you felt the local community here on Whidbey Island has supported you?
They're the best. Yeah. They're the best.
That's great.
Local community is the best, because they are very, very, very supportive of the local businesses, right? Like, and I mean, we have some very loyal customers. We're in as many of like these different shops, like Three Sisters, all the way up to like Snow Goose Produce, Skagit Co-op, which are just off the island, but it's like still local enough. All the Payless and, all these local, the Goose, KNR Farm Stand. So they've been great. They've all that we couldn't survive without the local support, right? That's
really good.
That's the heart and the start, right? Yeah. And we have a lot of great online customers.
That's a good brand line.
It's the heart and the start, right? Because like you can't do it without them, and that's the start of expanding. But you don't want to forget about your local customers, and that's what's going to keep you, driving forward. And so when we've tried to like partner with different stuff and do different fundraisers when we can, hopefully if we get bigger, we can do more of that type of stuff locally.
Right.
But we have a great, group of online customers that order and pick up from us and online, and they just go pick up. And so
everyone likes to hear a good story. So do you have a fishing story that's actually true?
Yeah, I got a few that are true. I mean, none of them were like, stuff that comes to mind is never like good stories. It's maybe like crazy injuries or medevacs or, there's always tons of weather and storms, but none of those, I never really felt, it was just part of the job, right? You knew growing up that Alaska, it was dangerous. It was hard. The weather is going to be crazy. It's going to be,
Well, I have to be honest. A couple of years ago, we went up to Alaska because we had friends living up there in the oil industry, and they wanted to take us halibut fishing, and I will never do it again.
No, what part did you go to?
Gosh, I don't remember. Yeah. The reason I'm in my raincoat, it was 2.5 hours drive out to where we were fishing.
What time of year was it?
It was summer, but it was a rainy day.
Yeah.
And summer. In fact, I do know when it was. It was in July, because the small town we were in, they had a celebration where they climbed a mountain in the mud, and then they had the pole greasing competition where you grease yourself up and try to climb a pole. All those things. But anyway, the fishing part, it took us 2.5 hours to get out to where we were going. It took us 30 minutes to meet our 2 quota, and 2.5 hours back. And the whole time it was raining and cold and bouncy.
Yeah.
So it's a one and done for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's July. So that's like,
one and done.
That was like, February, it's snow and you're not even going. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and my husband has been out with my son here.
Yeah.
to someone that he was doing business with,
Uh-huh.
and he said, "Oh, it was a 9-day difference in Alaska
Yeah.
for us to go
Yeah.
out here." Said it was totally smooth.
Yeah. Weather plays to everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And luckily the boat, the Baranof is big, but weather dictates a lot of fishing up there,
So
and
your boat's name is Baranof?
the Baroness not 9. It was the boat our dad worked on.
Mhm.
And he ended up becoming a partner in it. So he worked on it as a deckhand, then
Mhm.
became a mate and a captain, then bought back
Mhm.
in with a few other partners that started around the same time he did. So he's like a managing partner.
So it popped in my mind when you were talking about your brother being a mate. What's the difference in the levels? Of course, we know what a
A
captain
captain
is,
is
but
mate. So the mate is the first mate.
yeah.
So it's about a tonnage size of boat, right? So
Oh,
certain tonnage sizes have to have licensed mates, and
okay.
certain don't, licensed engineers. So the bigger the boat, the more licenses you're going to need on the
Oh,
boat, right? So
okay.
basically, the hierarchy, on a vessel is about this of this size. Because the bigger
Mhm.
the boat, you're going to have second, third, fourth mate. Like, it is a captain, a chief engineer, then the first mate. It's kind of like the managing group
Mhm.
on the vessel, right?
So let's talk about, I know you're young, but future generations. What do you hope that the message you're trying to send, especially with cutting out the middleman, and how do you hope to see them tackle it in the future that may be different or maybe the same? Something you might want to keep the same because it's great, or change.
I think it's as much traceability and transparency as possible,
Okay.
right?
Traceability and transparency.
Everybody uses the buzzwords, traceable,
Mhm.
sustainable,
Yeah.
like wild caught, whatever. Like everybody, but there's no one, no one can prove it. So
Mhm.
like the future, I would love some sort of digital type of system where almost the fish read like barcodes, like farm meat. You can track what vessel it came from,
Mhm.
track where, and then it's just to know your fisherman, right? Know
Right.
where it comes from, know what season it is, how was this harvested, all those little things. Where did it go after you delivered? Was it bled and processed on the boat? Was it even bled? Or there's so much intricacy to it. So a way to just be more transparent through the industry, right? Because there's so much, there's not a lot of requirements, right? So
Mhm. So you know what that reminds me of? I don't know if you've ever seen the show Portlandia.
I haven't, no.
Okay. So it's a quirky, goofy show about Portland and how it's quirky. There is an episode in there that it's real today, but at the time everyone's laughing at it. And the couple was at a restaurant. They ordered chicken, but they wanted to know where that chicken came from.
Yeah, for
Was
sure.
it tortured? Did it get to run around? How many hours a day?
Yeah,
They're asking the waitress this, so that's what made it funny.
yeah,
They
yeah,
had a whole long list about this chicken,
yeah,
and did it suffer when
yeah,
killed it? I mean, everything.
yeah. That's a little, yeah,
But yeah, because
yeah,
it was a comedy show.
exactly.
However,
Yeah.
today,
No,
no,
farm to table, sea to table, know your fisherman, know your farmer.
that's right.
Like, no, it's real, right?
Mhm,
'Cause, just locally here, all the local produce and
mhm,
farm food we get on
mhm.
Whidbey, it's great because like you can just go pick up veggies or whatever you want, and it just came right from that farm stand. It's that same mindset with fishing is kind of know where it comes from. The problem is there's just right now there's no system for that traceability,
Yeah.
and everybody says it's wild caught, but the way the supply chain is worked is a lot of it is delivered to shore-based processing plants from all these different vessels. It all gets mixed together and all this stuff. You don't know whose fish is whose, how it was handled, and then it just gets shipped out as a white label. Oh, this is
Yeah.
black cod, sockeye salmon, whatever it is, right? And so it's just it's tough. So I'm
Mhm.
hoping as the future, like you said, we get a more sort of as technology evolves and connectivity, we can find a way to digitally track these things where you could just look, whether it's some
Mm.
sort of app or some sort of way, boom, oh, scan like a barcode,
Yeah.
bam, that fish was caught there, then
Yeah.
at this time. It was from
It's a
there.
great idea.
Is there? Yeah, yeah, and so it's that would be pretty cool,
Mhm.
and maybe that you develop something where it causes grocery stores to have more transparency on their product set.
It's almost like they do in the science world of tagging. As soon as the
Yeah,
fish comes in, you tag it in some way.
yeah, that is. Tagging is great because that's a lot of data stuff, right? And yeah,
That would be, we don't want to go down the rabbit trail, but I'm thinking of when I'm watching some kind of show where they're fishing and they're having a net, hundreds of fish in a net.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Would you tag all those?
yeah,
But I guess if you're going to flash freeze them,
yeah. But see, then you process like how would you? You need you almost need like how would you embed it in there? Where would the tag go, right? Like because then it gets processed down. It gets processed into portions.
So
it gets
tiny.
filleted.
It's so tiny you would never know.
You need like a microchip, like a dog microchip.
Yeah.
And then you need to
even tinier.
It needs to be like
fish.
it needs to be like edible.
You don't want it to slide out.
And you need it to like edible, yeah.
Okay, we need to study this.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do some fun rapid fire questions, just so people get to know you better. Yeah. All right. So, what's your favorite spot on the island to watch the sunrise?
I don't know if I really have one. I'm going to be honest. It's I don't know.
Are you a sunset guy or a sunrise guy?
Going
out early for fishing. You think?
I don't think I mean some of the best sunrises are actually been in Alaska on the boat. Sunset and sunrises. You get some great ones, especially in the summertime. It barely gets dark sometimes, depending on where you are in Alaska. But there's some amazing sunsets and amazing sunrises at sea. That's one of the small perks.
Yeah. Of that. Yeah. All right. So, what's the best catch you've ever pulled in?
Personally, or like as a commercial fishing wise? Is it like a personal? Because commercial fishing, commercial is more like.
Let's go personal, like you were talking earlier about.
I would have to be some sort of like a blue marlin.
Okay.
So like marlin fishing is a passion that Adam and I have.
Like down south.
Like Hawaii, Kona has a lot of great stuff. A lot of places, like the islands, the Azores in Portugal, Cape Verde, off the coast of west coast of Africa. Stuff like that. Australia, black marlin. But so those type of exotic sport fishing destinations are those are our what our passion chases. We used to fish to fish. You used to commercial fish so you could sport fish.
Right.
That was when we were younger, that was you spent too much money
play.
on.
You have to work and then you have to get.
Then we went fishing again. People are like, what the heck's wrong with you? You're spending your money to go fishing.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, you didn't jump out of an airplane.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Okay, so are you a coffee or a tea guy?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Mix it up, right? You can't get too used to one thing, right?
So you drink hot tea or cold tea?
I'm mostly hot, but I mean,
really?
But I never really drank cold tea because around here,
drink iced tea. We still drink iced tea.
Yeah, but that's
we're from the south.
Exactly. Yeah. I've never really experienced it down up here.
Okay.
So
we'll come over and I'll make you some sun tea.
Let me get some of that.
Set outside all day.
Yeah, there we go. Yes, I need
one word that describes the water this time of year.
This time of year, I mean, summer is calm. It's a calm versus like winter and fall. You have a lot more storms, a lot more weather systems. So calm would be what I associate summer with.
So have you ever weathered just a horrific storm?
I mean, it's Alaska, of course.
You're like, this is it.
No, never. It's part of the job. Yeah, I've never felt unsafe. I mean, the TV show is a lot of editing. It's a lot of camera angles. It's a lot of like, hey, let's put the boat and haul the gear in a certain direction to make the weather look worse than it is.
Oh, really?
Right. And there's a lot of like, let's take this frame from that frame, this weather. Think about how the hours of footage and how you're getting a half hour program. It's a lot of editing, a lot of splicing things together that might have not happened in that sequence. But it's Alaska, it's the Bering Sea, it's the Western Aleutians, it's the Gulf. Like there's always big storm systems every single year. And the bigger boat we're always out in it. The smaller boats, a lot of them will go to port, anchor up. We have to anchor or hide behind islands at times, but I mean it's just part of the job. If you're not accepting that you're going to be in weather, working in weather, fishing in big weather, big weather and ice and cold,
So I was thinking that if you have guests at your home and you're going to have fish, what is your favorite thing to make? I would say
FAS troll king salmon. That's my favorite. Yeah. The Nurka troll king salmon I like the fatty. The king salmon has a lot of fat and these ones have there's a troll. They're just handled really well. It's a lot of fat. So I love that fatty flavor. So that would probably be my favorite, like summertime. And maybe in the winter, maybe like the black cod is a more winter type dish, but the summer grilled salmon, yeah.
So I'm going to change this next question. It was about the end of your day, but do you have rituals? I mean, do you have, at the end of your day when you were fishing and not being on shore, the fishermen have rituals in the way that they do things?
I mean, I don't know about such rituals, but everybody has a routine, right? It's super routine. It's very, very structured, the day to day. Like you wake up at the same times, you do the same. I mean, it's part of the monotony of it. It gets so boring.
So there's no surprises in the work you do.
They're always surprised because you never know what's going to happen. You never know the time schedule. You never know when someone's going to come up and say they have an injury. You never know when you're hauling gear and a line breaks, or someone out there gets hurt, or you have to something breaks and you have to go to town. Like, there's always that unpredictability of it. But the day to day, there's no ritual. It's very, very routine at the same time.
Regimented.
Very, very, right? You eat your meals times. I mean, boom, 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 boom.
So last question, what keeps you motivated?
I mean, I think that with a small business, having succeed, and so you can have the freedom to do things that you want to do in life, like not like make your own type of schedule, not like, in that way, like, hey, not like work optional, but just you're not punching clock, which has its benefits and not, but like, cause you're always on the clock. So weekends, holidays, if you have to deal with customers, but the motivating part is, hey, I get to make my schedules. If I want to go take my dogs for a walk, I can schedule that time. Like, I don't have to ask permission. Right. And that is a very motivating thing. I don't have to, so that freedom is the freedom and flexibility is a lot of value to me.
Yeah. That has a high value.
It has a high value.
To a lot of people.
Yeah.
So. Well, thank you so much, Andrew.
Of course.
I really enjoyed your story and how you answered the questions. I think it's very interesting.
Of course. It's a pleasure being on. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. As we wrap up, it's clear that Andrew Hosmer and Whidbey Seafoods is about more than just a transaction. It's a promise kept to the ocean and to the community. From the moment the net hits the water to the flash freeze that locks in the quality, and finally to the doorstep of a neighbor, they've built a bridge between the wild Pacific and our dinner tables. Thank you for sharing your stories, your time, and your dedication to keeping Whidbey's maritime spirit alive. And to our listeners, if you're tired of wondering where your seafood comes from and want to experience the dock-to-doorstep difference, I highly recommend checking out Whidbey Seafoods online. You can order their wild-caught flash frozen favorites directly from their facility. And Andrew, thank you for being such a vital part of our island story. I appreciate you listening to Saltwater Lives on Local Whidbey Podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and share it with a friend. It really helps others discover these conversations. You can find this episode and all of our Whidbey Island stories at withmagsy.com and on all major podcast platforms. Until next time, I'm Magsy. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you around the island.